people going to think of our new buttermilk crispy chicken? Let's find out.
It's probably the best sandwich I've ever had.
It's super crispy, but it's also really juicy.
So would you guys come back? Yep.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, here's our card. The location is on the back. It's McDonald's? What? What?
Oh, get out
No way.
Wait, seriously?
Try some buttermilk crispy chicken. It's right around the corner at McDonald's. Buttermilk.
Welcome back to Ask the Coach. Joe Myers talking with Glasgow head coach Jeff Garman about the Scotties' 14-6 victory last night at Greene County to put them at 4-3 overall, 1-0 in the district. Jeff, we were talking just before the break there. You were talking about the kind of the odd way that Greene County was sending their linemen to the line, and the skill players were kind of sitting back in the huddle and all of a sudden just kind of scattering and getting to the line late. Had you seen them do that on film? Did you expect to see that?
No, they hadn't done that the whole time on film. And, you know, the first series there, we stopped them on downs, and I think we made them punt, but they did get a first down in that series. And it took us a few plays to kind of figure it out. And, you know, I thought Drake Poland did a real good job as far as he kind of calls our strength call and kind of gets our defense lined up as far as which way everybody's going to go. And it took him a few plays, but he got it figured out, and really it didn't become an issue after those first 3 or 4 plays. So that's you know, when I talk about just play the defense and don't buy into a bunch of stuff that they're trying to do, that's exactly what I'm talking about, and trying to prepare our boys for things that, you know, when you get into these district games, they probably got all kinds of stuff on you, and they've watched you a little bit probably in more detail than what the other teams do. And on defense, you've got to be prepared for anything and be able to adjust to anything. And I thought our kids did a really good job of that. And I'm just really proud of the strides that our defense has made. And it's, you know, if you come to the games or you listen to them on radio, I think you can see or hear that, you know, our defense is really playing a lot better. These last 4 or 5 games, they've played pretty doggone solid.
You mentioned Drake Poland, and just to single out another defender who I thought played well for you, Stephen Franklin, I thought was really good last night too, Jeff. Steve winds up with 6 tackles on the night, but it seemed like he was just in on every play. If he wasn't making the tackle, he was right there in the area, or he was putting pressure on the quarterback, or he just seemed really active. And I know that's not unusual at all for Stephen. We probably don't talk about what a good player he is enough, but I thought he played well last night.
Well, and you're right, we probably don't. And he's a big presence on our defensive line, and the things that Steven does for us that, you know, in a perfect world, you know, Steven could probably play like an outside linebacker or some type and doing some things with him, putting his hand down and doing things. For us, we got to have him up on that defensive line. We don't survive without him. And I thought he was really active tonight, and he kind of got him. He kind of got where in a matchup with he was bigger, stronger, faster than the guys on him, and it didn't matter who he lined up on, and it showed tonight. And he played in a dominating style. I also thought, you know, Gavin Bird, Draven Pope, Eric Bradshaw, Jackson Adams was in there. I thought they played well tonight, too. They did things that we asked them to do, and that's important. It shows me that they're coachable and they're willing to sacrifice a little bit for some other guys to make more plays. We'll go through the tackling chart, and we'll talk about how all that second-tier people on our defense, how they make a lot of tackles and stuff, but they probably don't do that without those guys up front sacrificing and doing the dirty work for the defense.
Another thing that may get overlooked, which I thought was a key for you in last night's ball game, you only punted 4 times. Jasper punted 3 of the 4 times, except for the one time when I think he was a little banged up. He didn't punt. But I thought he did a good job punting the football for you. Of course, he's replaced Dalvin Smith, with Dalvin being out with the injury for the rest of the year. But Jasper had a 38-yard average last night on his punts and a long of 42.
If he can do 38-yard average every week, we'll take that. I'll sign up for it right now. I thought he improved on his punting from a week ago last week, and it was kind of a game, though, that you weren't getting any returns whatsoever out of the punt. So, I mean, it was one of those deals where, if you got a good roll, you were doing it. And I thought our coverage teams did a real good job tonight, and it was a difference in the ball game. When we got them pinned back there a little bit, special teams comes into play, and I thought our kickoff team did well. I thought our coverage was good there, was solid. And I thought our coverage in the punt game was solid. Another kid that don't get a whole lot of credit, Dustin Asher, is kind of our wild man on that punt thing. Gets down there and covers most of those balls. So he does a real good job on that, and takes pride in his play out there. And it's good to see kids that work hard, and Dustin works as hard as anybody, make a great contribution to the team.
Continuing with the special teams theme, something else I wanted to say is Noah Howard, your kickoff guy now. Noah's not kicking the ball deep, but what he is doing a nice job of he's getting the ball up in the air, allowing your coverage team to get down there and get good coverage on the kid that's running the football back.
Yeah, and this is Noah's first year of really playing football as far as kicking and doing things like that. So, he's improved so much from when we started back in, I think he joined us in June, late June, right there before the dead period, and watching him kick that day, his first day, it's amazing how far he's come, and what I see is he can do it in practice. And he can. At first, it started off, I could see him do it up on the game field by himself. Now I'm seeing him be successful in practice, and that's going to translate over into the games. Now, is he honestly trying to kick? We're trying to get him to kick it as deep and as far as he can. He's got a pretty good, strong leg, but it just takes time. It takes time, and any time you go out into a team sport and you get people out there, nerves come into factor, and you just got to fight through it. And I thought Noah's done a good job kicking off for us so far.
Let's take a look at the drive chart from last night's game. Not a lot of scoring. As a matter of fact, the entire first half was scoreless. Green County turned it over on downs on their first possession, then Glasgow punted on its first possession. Scotties would eventually get the ball back at their own 18-yard line and had a nice drive going. I think this is the drive that Jasper Mundy broke off several nice runs before he fumbled and gave Greene County the football back at the 37. They're at their own 37, so that kind of snuffed out the Glasgow scoring threat there. Scotties then took over again a little later in the first half with 4:42 to go in the second quarter at midfield, and would fumble on that possession as well after gaining a first down. So Scotty's not able to take advantage of good field position there. Each team just traded a couple of punts there towards the end of the first half. Glasgow got the football to start the third quarter, moved the football into Greene County territory before turning the ball over on downs there at the Greene County 34-yard line, and the Dragons then would go on their only scoring drive of the night, a 9-play, 66-yard drive that took 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Austin Matney scored from 33 yards out. The two-point conversion, though, was no good, which left the door open for the Scotties as it gave Greene County just a 6-0 lead with 4:05 to go in the third quarter. That touchdown run by Matney, Jeff, it was a run around the right end. Did you see what happened there?
It was away from us, so I didn't get a good look. It looked like, we played it kind of poorly, to be honest with you. We give up some outside leverage, and we didn't get much run support from our corner on that play. And Matney's got good speed. I've watched him on tape 3 or 4 games, and once he got in the secondary, he was able to run away from the defenders in multiple games. Even in the Danville game, they didn't score, but when he broke in the secondary, he ran away from players for Danville, and he did the same against Campbellsville. So, he had good speed, and we just had to keep him contained and bottled up. I thought as the game played out throughout the game, I thought Henry started doing a little better job. He kind of got caught a couple times. You want to play as a linebacker inside out on those outside runs, and I thought Henry started taking a little bit flatter angle in that second half and later in the second quarter, and thought he did a lot better job of doing that. Henry's one of those guys, he makes tackles. He'll have you 6, 7, 8 tackles a game, But when you go back and watch the tape, he's doing some really good stuff, and it's stuff that you can't see just watching the game. And there's always a couple of plays you just think, goodness, I mean, it's amazing how much better he's gotten from last year or even the beginning of the year this year to now. He's really playing some good football.
The Scotties looked like they were going to go right back down the field and respond by getting a touchdown themselves. They took over their own 41-yard line, just under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, and moved the football inside the Greene County 5-yard line, got down to the 2, I think, on the fourth down play, and wound up getting stuffed there, was not able to get the ball into the end zone, and that gave Greene County the football back at their own 2-yard line. But what that did do was change field position, as Scotty's defense did a nice job. They forced a punt, and Glasgow would then take over at the Greene County 20-yard line after a poor punt, and took just 2 plays for Kyle Nixon to score on a 1-yard touchdown run. Kyle actually, I think, had a 19-yard run to set up that 1-yard run as well, so I think he ran the ball on both of those plays there. Nixon also scored the 2-point conversion. It's 8-6 Glasgow with 10:16 to go in the fourth quarter, and after being so close a couple other times, Jeff, it had to feel good to finally break through and get in the end zone, and then plus to get that 2-point conversion to give you the lead early in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I always felt like if we could ever get the lead on Greene, we were going to be in pretty good position. And when we did, we stopped them on defense. We got good field position, went down and scored, and you could just kind of see the spirit of our guys pick up. And our defense really picked it up after that and started playing some good physical football. They were flying around out there and making a lot of plays, and I think we had an interception after that. Evan Riddle, who's played, I think, just as solid as anybody out there on the corner, and he came in and got a big interception for us to give us good field position again. We were able to capitalize again, and boom, 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 go right down there and score again. And really wanted to get that 2-point conversion to kind of put the game to a 2-possession game, but was unsuccessful in trying to do that.
Evan Riddle has played well. He leads the team with 3 interceptions, Jeff, so he certainly has done a good job back there at the cornerback spot. Kind of an odd play came about midway through the fourth quarter when Glasgow blocked a punt, but the officials somehow ruled that it should be Greene County football after initially they were going to give it to Glasgow, and then the officials got together to discuss some things, and generally when that happens, not too many good things occur once the officials get together to discuss something. But the decision was to give the football back to Greene County, and that set them up at their own 37-yard line. But again, Glasgow's defense came up with a big stop when they had to have one. Let's go back to the block punt, Jeff. What is your understanding of why Greene County got the football back right there?
My understanding from the official was that we blocked the punt, and when you blocked the punt, you began possession of the ball, and Greene County was able to recover it and take back possession of the ball. Now, what the referee failed to say, and maybe he meant that we touched the ball again after we blocked the ball, which then made it a live ball. I don't know, but somehow or another, he felt like we took possession of the play. But it didn't happen until after their coach, they had already moved the chains. I don't even know how they had any idea where Greene County got the ball. They had already moved the chains and set them the other way. And then their coach come out and talked to them. And then the next thing I know, obviously I'm going to sit and argue that. But the funny thing about it all was our boys on defense were going, don't worry about it, Coach. We're going to get it. So, in a blessing, it may have been a blessing in disguise. Our defense had confidence at that time, and I don't think they were going to give up any plays after that anyway.
We'll come back in just a minute, finish up the drive chart, and look at the stats from last night's game. We're back after this on WCOD Sports.